when you both can't believe something and can believe it at the same time? That's what happened to me when I saw the comments from Mystics co-owner Sheila Johnson about Caitlin Clark on CNN. If you didn't see them, she essentially said, or she didn't essentially say, she said, why can't you put the whole WNBA on the cover, not Caitlin Clark?
Behind the bright lights of the WNBA court, a simmering feud emerges as Mystics owner Sheila Johnson targets Caitlin Clark, revealing deeper fractures within the league that could jeopardize its future. What's at the heart of this growing conflict?
It has taken the WNBA almost 28 years to get to the point where we are now. And this year, something clicked with the WNBA. And it's because of the draft of the players that came in. It's just not Caitlin Clark, it's Reese. We have so much talent.
Caitlin Clark's Athlete of the Year win was celebrated as a milestone for women's sports, but not all reactions were positive, with some critics voicing opposition to the recognition.
And respectfully to Sheila Johnson, who is the owner of the Washington Mystics, y'all haven't been relevant in 5 years. The last time y'all were relevant was in 2019 when Elena Delle Donne was on your team and helped y'all capture your first and only championship in franchise history. You should be the first person to be congratulated.
Mystics owner Sheila Johnson, a prominent advocate for women's basketball, ignited controversy by suggesting the Athlete of the Year honor could have been used to spotlight the WNBA instead of focusing on one player.
It is almost 2025, and the WNBA is still complaining about Caitlin Clark. A few days ago, the Washington Mystics owner, this woman right here, went on CNN and talked about, you can't just pin the league's success on Caitlin Clark. But little did she realize, 31% of her team's total attendance for the year was the 2 games that they played Caitlin Clark.
Her stance highlighted a deeper tension about the representation of women's sports in mainstream media and the struggle for visibility.
Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson goes on CNN and says that the entire WNBA should have been put on the cover of Time magazine. It is hard to get away from this conversation because it just keeps making national news. And to be frank, I've never seen a story in the WNBA get as much widespread coverage as this is getting.
Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise has been fueled by her electrifying on-court performances, blending skill, charisma, and intense competitiveness, attracting a growing fan base well beyond college basketball.
There's been no player in my time of paying attention to women's basketball that has been more polarizing than Caitlin Clark. She was named Time's 2024 Athlete of the Year, which I think is well deserved for what she did in the college game and then bringing it to the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark's Athlete of the Year accolade marked a milestone, showcasing the growing prominence of women's sports. Yet, Sheila Johnson's response emphasized a different view, underscoring what she sees as a systemic issue: the ongoing lack of recognition for the WNBA as a whole, and the league's collective contributions often being overshadowed.
Our Athlete of the Year is Caitlin Clark, obviously.
Yeah,
everyone was talking about Caitlin Clark. I mean, sales for, to watch games, WNBA games, just increased and skyrocketed because of her. She's incredible.
In her statement, Sheila Johnson made it clear that her criticism was not aimed at Caitlin Clark personally, but at the broader issue of representation within women's sports. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark, it's about elevating an entire league that has fought tirelessly to gain respect and visibility, Johnson explained. Her perspective resonated with those who feel that the WNBA's collective contributions often go overlooked. While Clark's achievements are undeniable, Johnson's call to shift the spotlight toward the league as a whole is rooted in a desire to push for equality in media representation, pay, and sponsorship. The WNBA's growth has been substantial, but it still faces systemic challenges, and Johnson's words were a plea for the industry to prioritize collective progress rather than individual acclaim.
It's just not Caitlin Clark. It's Reese. We have so much talent out there that has been unrecognized, and I don't think we can pin it on just one player. I want to be very diplomatic about this, Johnson continued. It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented and they never got the recognition they should have. And I think that right now it is time for that to happen. So last night, Time magazine.
For Sheila Johnson, the WNBA is more than just a basketball league. It's a symbol of resilience, talent, and the ongoing fight for gender equality in sports. She believes that focusing on the league's collective progress, rather than individual achievements, could shift the narrative and strengthen the movement. However, not everyone shared her perspective. Critics argued that individual accomplishments like Caitlin Clark's play a crucial role in inspiring the next generation and attracting new fans to the sport. They contended that moments of individual brilliance bring much-needed attention to women's basketball, ultimately benefiting the league as a whole. For many, Clark represents the bright future of women's basketball, embodying the success and recognition that the sport has long sought.
Envy. They're human. I'm not surprised that we're seeing envy, but envy, a feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or luck. With Caitlin Clark, it's not at all luck. But what we're seeing, but not generalizing, not by every WNBA player, but by some, I believe.
Sheila Johnson's comments on CNN downplaying the Caitlin Clark effect may have been intended to shift the focus to the collective effort of the WNBA, but they inadvertently highlighted the very impact she sought to minimize. Caitlin Clark, the sensational rookie from Iowa, has become a phenomenon that extends far beyond basketball. Her electrifying playing style, remarkable long-range shooting, and undeniable charisma have captivated fans, making her one of the most talked-about figures in sports. Her ability to fill arenas, as seen when the Fever visited the Mystics, directly contradicts Johnson's claim that no single player's influence drives the league's success. Clark's impact, both on and off the court, continues to prove the power of individual stars in expanding the reach and popularity of women's sports.
Watching her play, she's incredible. She's got range that you have to pick her up basically as soon as she crosses the half-court line because she's dangerous from everywhere. Like you're watching shooting against her. Like Caitlin Clark's going to be in that conversation here for years. Not like that girl can flat out shoot. So
and she doesn't, and this is taking nothing away from the way women shoot a basketball, but her form looks more like a guy, where it's more of a pull-up and a follow-through rather than a push. And I honestly think that's one of the reasons she's so successful.
Caitlin Clark's rapid rise to WNBA stardom holds immense potential to boost the league's visibility, drawing in a new audience of fans who may not have previously engaged with women's basketball. The packed arena during the Mystics Fever matchup wasn't just a one-off event. It showcased the genuine draw Clark has, making her a key asset for the league's future. This doesn't diminish the talent of the many other exceptional athletes in the WNBA, whose dedication to growing the game has been invaluable. Rather, Clark's appeal offers a unique opportunity to attract casual fans and introduce them to the full depth of talent the league has to offer. Sheila Johnson's criticism risks alienating this new wave of supporters who are discovering the league through Clark's influence. Instead of undermining her impact, the WNBA should embrace Clark's stardom and use it as a vehicle for expanding the league's reach. The record-breaking attendance at the Mystics Fever game is proof that individual star power and league growth can go hand in hand, elevating the entire sport.
Basketball, this is Jen Hatfield, your Washington Mystics beat reporter. The Mystics had an early tip-off today for Camp Day, which is when children from local summer camps get to attend and scream their hearts out. The Mystics drew 14,400 fans today, which is a record for any WNBA team this season, according to Across the Timeline. But without injured starters Elena Deladon, Shakira Austin, and Ariel Atkins, the Mystics suffered a somewhat disappointing loss to the Indiana Fever, and head coach Eric Thibault said post-game that the team just didn't have the right focus today coming in. But Thibault and the players alike appreciated the opportunity to perform in front of kids who are in the same position that they once were growing up watching the WNBA.
For the WNBA to thrive, it must embrace the energy and excitement that players like Caitlin Clark bring to the court. Sheila Johnson's dismissal of the Clark effect may have been an attempt to promote unity within the league, but the packed stands at her team's arena tell a different story. The league's future does not lie in ignoring star players, but in celebrating them as catalysts for greater recognition of the talent across the board. In professional sports, egos and opinions often clash, and the spotlight can magnify tensions. This is evident in the ongoing debate sparked by Mystics owner Sheila Johnson's critique of Caitlin Clark, a rising WNBA star. Despite Clark acknowledging that the league's success is not solely her doing, highlighting the contributions of many other talented players, Johnson's dismissal of Clark's influence ignited a firestorm. Many fans argue that Clark's dynamic play and charisma have driven much of the recent surge in the WNBA's popularity, breathing new life into a league that has struggled to capture mainstream attention. However, Clark has consistently emphasized the collective effort behind the league's growth. She has acknowledged the immense talent, hard work, and dedication of her fellow players. There are so many incredible athletes in this league who contribute every day to making the WNBA what it is, Clark stated in a recent interview, emphasizing her team-first mentality. While Johnson's remarks sparked controversy, they highlight the ongoing tension between individual stardom and collective success in the WNBA's growth. Balancing both will elevate the league.
I feel like we're just scratching the surface. Like, everybody asked me like where I think this is gonna go and what it's gonna be, and like I don't really have an answer, because if you would have told people this is where the WNBA is, 5 years ago, you would have said this is where we're gonna be now. People probably wouldn't have believed you, because they never thought that was possible. They never thought people would buy tickets. They never thought we'd play on ABC. Never thought we'd be on ESPN. They never thought it'd be sold out arenas, or little kids wanted to wear WNBA jerseys, whatever it was. So I think it's hard to say where it's going to continue to grow. I think the smartest thing would be to get in now, because the price is only going up.
However, Sheila Johnson remains unconvinced. The Mystics owner has doubled down on her criticism of the outsized attention Clark has received, arguing that it detracts from the contributions of other players and perpetuates a narrative that unfairly elevates individual stardom over the league as a whole. For Johnson, the WNBA's growth has long been tied to a sense of unity and collective effort among players, owners, and fans. While players like Clark undeniably bring attention to the league, Johnson believes there is a fine line between celebrating individual achievements and overshadowing the team-oriented nature that the league has worked hard to cultivate. As the debate continues, one thing is certain: Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA is undeniable. Her ability to share the spotlight and emphasize the contributions of others speaks volumes about her character. However, the WNBA's future success will depend on its ability to strike a balance. The league must find ways to celebrate its brightest stars while maintaining focus on the teamwork and diverse talents that make it truly unique. Achieving this balance will be key to the league's long-term growth and recognition.
Caitlin Clark, she will have a long, illustrious, decorated career where she inspires millions and millions of girls and young women to play a sport that she loves. And the thing that I do like about her, she is a whiner and she is a flopper, is that she wants everyone to play well. And she wants to inspire girls and young women to be awesome basketball players, because
Caitlin Clark's rise to prominence is a testament to her talent and dedication, not a product of media manipulation. She didn't ask for the spotlight, but her performances on the court earned it. Critics targeting her risk alienating someone who has become one of the most significant figures in women's basketball, helping raise its visibility. The real issue goes beyond Clark. It reflects the broader challenges within the WNBA and women's sports. The internal competition for validation often overshadows the collective effort needed to grow the game. Instead of tearing down players like Clark, the focus should be on using her success to elevate the entire league. Clark's rise presents an opportunity to increase attention, investment, and opportunities for everyone in women's basketball.
The reason that everybody watches Caitlin Clark is because she's pulling from the logo, crossing people over, and breaking numerous records as a rookie. She plays a style of basketball that's very appealing to watch. It's not slow-paced. It's genuinely must-see TV every time she steps on the court. And yes, while right now she is the most viewed player in every single state, next year Paige Beckers comes into the league. Then Juju Watkins comes into the league. But the WNBA right now is killing their product, because instead of being like, hey, we have a rookie that just broke numerous records and is pulling up from the logo on a nightly basis, come see it for yourself, it's all about, it's not just because of her. And it's honestly pretty sad to see.
If the targeting of Caitlin Clark continues, the WNBA risks alienating fans and wasting one of its brightest stars. Rather than seeing Clark's success as a threat, the league and its players should celebrate her achievements, recognizing that her rise is a shared triumph for the sport. The growth of the game depends on lifting up its stars, not weighing them down with unwarranted criticism. Caitlin Clark has taken the basketball world by storm. With her unparalleled skills, fierce drive, and electrifying performances, she's shattered records, earned comparisons to some of the game's greatest players, and elevated women's basketball to new heights. But as she reaches the peak of her career, one undeniable truth emerges. For some within the WNBA, even Caitlin Clark's brilliance is not enough. Recent comments from Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson have cast a shadow on what should be a celebration of Clark's monumental contributions. These remarks highlight a troubling trend in the league: its reluctance to fully embrace transformative players like Clark, who have the potential to change the landscape of women's sports.
For anybody that's an athlete to do a triple, I mean, that's just,
yeah.
I mean, Michael Jordan, I suppose I don't know if he called her or not, but he could have. Huh?
No, I don't know if Michael Jordan did, but I mean, Kevin Durant's been a fan of hers for a couple of years now. They talk. He sends her shoes.
Does he?
Yeah. I mean, she has had some former, NBA players that you would all recognize, send her text messages, Facebook Messenger, send her gifts and things. It's really cool.
What lies behind this reluctance to embrace Caitlin Clark fully? On the surface, Sheila Johnson's criticism may seem to stem from a concern about spotlighting individual players over the collective WNBA effort. However, for a league still vying for mainstream recognition, such criticism can feel self-sabotaging. Instead of rallying behind their standout athletes, it sometimes seems as though the WNBA undermines them, as if their success reveals the league's perceived limitations. Clark's case brings this tension to the forefront. She's a player capable of revolutionizing the WNBA and drawing unprecedented attention, yet she's facing internal resistance. Johnson's comments reveal a discomfort with the idea of allowing individual brilliance to dominate the narrative. There seems to be an underlying fear that her stardom might eclipse the collective efforts the league has worked to build. But the truth remains, the WNBA needs players like Caitlin Clark. Her success could pave the way for greater visibility and a brighter future for the entire league.
So the Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson goes on CNN and says that the entire WNBA should have been put on the cover of Time magazine. It is hard to get away from this conversation because it just keeps making national news. And to be frank, I've never seen a story in the WNBA get as much widespread coverage as this is getting. I honestly can't wait until the season's back in so we can get more about basketball talk. But back to this.
So last night we read Time magazine where Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that.
Okay, so Time magazine did one time give Athlete of the Year to a team, and it was to the US women's soccer team when they won the World Cup. It was pretty fun, pretty cool, very out of the box, but a lot of people think it was kind of weird that a team won Athlete of the Year, and they didn't do it again. And to address the no hard feelings statement, I have two rebuttals. The coach of her team for the past couple seasons was a white man, Eric Tebow. I had no problems with it, but if you have concerns about equality, a white man is the opposite of that. Hurt feelings much? Elena Deladon, a player on the Washington Mystics, specifically asked to be traded and said to the team that if they court her, she will not play. And they court her, and she did not play for an entire season. Believe me, there were hard feelings. But this is sports, and there's no crying in baseball or basketball. Hard feelings are a part of competition. They're a part of sports. They're ingrained into the system. I think this conversation is getting pretty tired though, and I honestly just can't wait until the season starts again to talk about basketball.
For Caitlin Clark, the message is clear. No matter how much she achieves, it might never satisfy everyone in the WNBA, but that's exactly why she's vital. Clark's pursuit of greatness challenges the league to step up, to embrace its stars, and to recognize that the future of the WNBA depends on celebrating talent, not dimming it. Do you think the WNBA will ever embrace the hard work of Caitlin Clark? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.